on 105.9 FM and streaming worldwide on the WMAL app.
O'Connor and Company.
It's 8:06. It's O'Connor and Company on this 20th hour. Sorry. I was doing the math in my head. How many hours do we do? It's the 20th hour of 20 hours of morning radio that we put forth every week, and this is the final hour, Mercedes. Are you excited?
So excited. I didn't know you were so good at math. That's amazing.
I'm not good at all. If you missed any of our program up until this point, please subscribe to our podcast so you don't miss anything. Sean Spicer was with us last hour, and he was nice to me like 80% of the time. So that's a win.
That's because he, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, because he had a movie to sell. That's why.
That's what it was.
Coming up in 30 minutes, we're saving women's sports, and the Title IX bus tour, sponsored by Independent Women's Forum, is coming to town next week. Jennifer Say, retired gymnast and founder and CEO of XXXY Athletics. She's actually one of the featured speakers, along with Riley Gaines, Martina Navratilova. We're going to talk about that and how TikTok is banning her brand advertising. We'll get to all of that coming up in 30 minutes. But Mercedes, we've got to get to the chairman of the Republican Party of Virginia, who has had a big week with the primary over. He's got his candidates. And, Rich Anderson, you told us on Wednesday you were going to have a meeting at the RNC. Did you have your meeting? And tell us everything that was said behind closed doors. There are no secrets, Rich.
Oh, yeah. Okay. Happy to inform your audience, Larry. And good morning to you, Mercedes. I met you at the Prince William County Lincoln Reagan dinner this year.
Yes, that's right.
So, all right, here's where we are. On Wednesday, I went to the Republican National Headquarters, along with my vice chair, the executive director of the party, our general counsel. We sat down with RNC Chairman Michael Whatley and members of his senior staff, as well as representatives of the Trump 2024 campaign. They gave us, at the 50,000-foot level, the general outlines of what is coming to Virginia. As you know, Virginia has been designated now as a battleground state.
Excellent.
Both candidates are neck and neck. Our job is to create a delta in favor of Mr. Trump. So that's our intention. But what it's going to do is it's going to be manpower, money, energy, and good Lord, Trump rallies coming to Virginia. So I would anticipate 2 or 3 of those, because this is a very important state to him. To the list of 7 battleground states, they have added 3, Virginia being 1, Minnesota another, New Hampshire another. There will be a Virginia state director of the Trump campaign who will be announced here probably in about another week or 10 days. And then the staff that comes to Virginia will include an elections integrity director, a deputy director, manpower for regional battle centers all around the state. So we are coming here, and as I now speak, I know some of your listening audience will be glad to hear this. There are 11,000 Trump signs on a truck somewhere from its point of production en route to Richmond, where we will further dispense those to our 125 local Republican units for deployment in their area. And then every month thereafter, we're going to have huge numbers of signs on the way that eclipse that. And we know signs don't vote, but boy, they create energy. And so we're off to a great start, and earlier than we did in 2020.
Amazing.
I wanted to ask, it's interesting because no one, I don't want to say no one would have thought, but there was a time where Virginia wasn't even, we had the big Glenn Youngkin win, which of course was critical in the state. But the reality is that Virginia, the Trump campaign is looking at it. It's as they're expanding their map. Do you think it's doable? I mean, what is it going to take?
I honestly think it's doable. I mean, people can look back at the Trump record during his first term. It was outstanding: a secure border, a roaring economy, respect in the international community, just all kinds of measures. By the measure of any yardstick, it was successful. People remember that. Mm-hmm. They can compare that to this Biden administration, which on every front has been an absolute disaster in every sense of the word. And you can even see it in the demographics that are breaking for President Trump. You've probably seen that black voters under the age of 50, Biden was up by 80 points among that group in 2020, and it's now just 37 points. That is a cratering of more than half. And so then that's in a demographic which historically has been a big part of the Democratic coalition, and they're leaving it in droves.
Chairman Anderson, we're speaking with Rich Anderson, chairman of the Republican Party of Virginia. I got to turn your sights to the race at House District 5. As of now, 310 votes separate John McGuire and Bob Good. Do you have an update on the status of that count? Have all the ballots been counted? And, of course, there will be an automatic recount, I'm sure. And have you spoken to the candidates? Have you spoken to Congressman Good about what his strategy might be going forward?
Actually, all the ballots have not yet been counted because they're still waiting for last-minute mail-in absentee ballots to arrive. Under Virginia state law, any ballot that is cast absentee and sent by the U.S. mails, if it is postmarked on Tuesday or earlier, and secondly, it is received in less than 4 hours from now at noon today by local electoral offices, they may process and count those votes as they would the others. Then the process will begin from there. And on Monday, I think it's Monday, that also provisional ballots will also be counted. And then what happens from there, there are validations made at the precinct level, at the local electoral board level where they're doing canvassing, and they have already done some of those around the state. And from there, it'll make its way, their certifications will make its way to Richmond, to the Virginia Department of Elections. It goes through a third tier of validation, and then it's placed in front of the Virginia Board of Elections, which on the 2nd of July will meet and certify the results. As you say, there's only 300 and some change votes that separate the two candidates. This is going to be the squeaker of all squeakers, but it seems like periodically we get to do those. What I have seen in the open media is that Congressman Good does plan to ask for a recount. He will likely be in recount territory where he can legally do that. If it's less than 0.5%, then it's automatic, and the state assumes the cost of that. If it's from there up to 1%, then Congressman Good can ask for it, and they'll do it, but he will have to fund that recount. So we'll see what happens.
Are you concerned at all about Congressman Good? There have been some suggestions that that there needs to be an investigation into the recount process and whether all the ballots have been approved of and have been legally investigated before the count. Like I said, have you spoken with Congressman Good? And is there? Go ahead.
I have spoken neither to Congressman Good or to the state senator McGuire. I have not spoken to either of them just yet, simply because I want to let this play out. They are both, and especially Congressman Good, they're engaged in the process of all of the canvassing process. I do not want it to be a distraction. It is now in the hands of the state, and I have a great deal of confidence in Susan Beals, Commissioner of the Virginia Department of Election, appointed by Governor Youngkin to see this through fairly.
All right, we will leave it there. Ultimately, the attention on that, 62,000 votes in that primary. By comparison, Mike Clancy in Virginia 10, only 24,000 votes were cast in Loudoun County, which I believe has a lot. I think that district in Virginia 10 has a lot more voters than the 5th district, but the attention paid to that primary was extraordinary. And ultimately, it was stratospheric, and probably President Trump's participation helped to put a little juice in it, too. Oh, you think?
Maybe.
But guess what? That's a great sign. If President Trump can put that kind of focus and get that kind of vote turnout on a Republican primary in the 5th district, imagine what his attention in the entire Commonwealth could do for the general election. Rich Anderson,
Larry,
this is going to be a hell of a year.
You just broken the code.
There you go. All right, Rich. Great job. Great talking with you. Thanks for sharing with us, and we'll look forward to those multiple Trump rallies in Northern Virginia this election cycle.
I'm looking forward to it. My thanks go to Michael Whiteley and the RNC. Remember, this is in stark contrast to the big no we got last year in October.
Oh, yes. We are well aware of it. Thank you, sir.
Massive improvement.
It's 8:15. WMAL traffic and weather.